I'm saying they have a lot of responsibility. I'm saying what I'm talking about isn't going to make it any worse. It's already bad. Because Congress, if they didn't produce any deficits, interest rates would probably be lower and they'd probably be saying so. It isn't just the Fed. Congress created the Fed, so we should have responsibility and auditing authority over the Fed. But no, the way it is now, there's a lot of political pressures on the Fed. But we're not even dealing with that. We're dealing with the fact. I want to know the names of the companies who get the money from the Fed, the money they create out of thin air, and they buy up these securities, and how much they paid for them. When did they pay?
Congressman Paul, I don't these are lower rates. I don't want the audit to challenge that independence, and nothing I've heard other than from Steve really is that vein. The vein is we want to follow the money. We want a financial audit, not a psychological audit. And I'll take it a step farther. How can they banter around the independence of the Fed? Let me ask you a real simple question, Congressman. If you were in the Treasury Department and you had to issue the kind of debt we do you think the Fed should keep interest rates high or low? You know, just to prove that there isn't a relationship there, just to prove there may be some independence, this audit would go a long way because I think you'd have a hard time defending that the Treasury and the Fed aren't in cahoots right now.
Well, I wouldn't presume what I think the Fed should do about interest rates because I don't believe the Fed should set interest rates at some price fixing. And that's why we get into that's how we've gotten in our mess by thinking that a few men in a secret room have the magic knowledge of knowing what interest rates should be. That's what creates the financial bubble. Interest rates are always artificially low, even when you're coming out of a recession. The Fed always keeps it artificially low.
Congressman, I don't get too many weeds on this, but one of the things that the Fed probably complains about here is this issue, that when banks come to the window, they want to remove the stigma of a failing bank, of a bank in trouble, but not necessarily failing, but is in good standing, but needs to borrow, has a short-term liquidity problem. Your bill would allow that name to be published, and that would kind of go against the issue of the anonymity that would remove the stigma out there. Is that what you want?
Well, after 6 months. But if they're in bad trouble and there's a responsibility of government in this meddling, why should they hide information that is valuable to the people?
Okay.
I mean, that's deceitful and dishonest and immoral and corrupt to hide it. If it were private, that would become known immediately on an ongoing basis. They would have a 3, 4, 5-star program to indicate how solvent a bank is, and the people would know immediately each single bank instead of waiting and hiding the ill effects and making sure all the banks fail at one time and all the mortgage companies fail at one time. They collectivize all these programs. That's why the financial bubble is so big. It is actually international rather than just domestic, as we all know.
All right, thank you, Ron. It's great to see you, Congressman. Now, I assume you're in Clute, Texas? It's not Clute, is it? I mean, you don't pronounce it like a French person, do you?
No, it's just Clute, Texas. My office is here in Texas.
All right, I saw it. I just want to make sure. I don't mispronounce it. It was Clute. I didn't think it was. Thank you. And we'll see you again soon, right? Well, I've never gotten you to talk about health care. As a doctor, you must love this health care bill, don't you? Which version is your favorite?
It's wonderful because it's going to reduce the deficit. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to get free medical care for 30 million people, and it's going to reduce the deficit.
It's going to go down.
So I think that really gives credibility to Washington and the whole.
We need to get those guys to help my bears. They can really spin that kind of magic.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Congressman. See you later. All right.